The Ministry of Industry requested an additional budget of 700 billion rupiah. Matahari Department Store reported net income growth in first half.
Income growth cannot be separated.
Hello, good evening. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of information from business, economic, and capital market sector. And as the pandemic is still ongoing, we provide you the latest COVID-19 information. Please stay safe by taking some simple precautions such as physical distancing, wearing a face mask, avoiding crowds, cleaning your hands, and having less mobility. With me, Wicky Adrian, this is Market Headlines. The Ministry of Industry requested an additional budget of 700 billion rupiah in 2022. The minister explained that the additional budget for funding priority programs to increase the role of industry in Indonesia.
Minister of Industry Agustus asked for an additional budget for 700 billion rupiah for 2022. This additional budget was mentioned by Minister to support the priority programs of the Ministry of Industry, including the constructions of the Indonesia Manufacturing Center, the development of PD 4.0, the development of small and medium industrial material centers, as well as the growth and development of the new entrepreneurs.
Kepada pimpinan untuk mengusulkan tambahan sekitar 700 miliar tambahan anggaran untuk kementerian industrian. Sebetulnya awalnya kalau idealnya kami membutuhkan tambahan sekitar 2,3 triliun, tapi kami juga paham ya kondisi fiskal atau kesehatan fiskal kita masih terbatas. Tapi saya kira ada beberapa target, ada beberapa program, 9 program ini yang menurut pandangan kami memang betul-betul harus disiapkan anggarannya.
The indicative ceiling of the Ministry of Industry in 2022 is set at 2.61 trillion rupiah, which is allocated for personal expenditures, operational and non-operational expenditures, education and economic functions. The budget allocations will also be used for vocational education and training programs, value-added programs, and industrial competitiveness, as well as management support programs. From Jakarta, Firmansyah for IDX Channel.
The government's efforts to balance the fiscal in the midst of high financing needs are considered a fundamental mistake in the state budget posture. Economists say that the overly optimistic state budget posture will only lead to a wider deficit.
Problems in state budget management are allegedly disrupting the continuity of state budget in carrying out government programs. IndiHome economist Abra Talatov explained that so far, the Ministry of Finance has always set tax targets that are too high to illustrate the government's optimism. But in fact, over the last few years, tax revenue is still far from the target. Abra assessed that even before the pandemic, the government was difficult to push taxes, which on average only grew by 2.9%. This means that the tax growth target of 7 to 8% is something that is forced.
Kita juga harus bisa mengukur, jangan sampai target yang terlalu over estimasi tadi, estimate itu akan berimplikasi terhadap belanja yang juga tinggi, ya. Kemudian defisitnya juga nanti akan akan melebar lagi kalau penerimaan pajaknya tidak mencapai target. Nah, kemudian juga indikator lain yang menunjukkan kinerja pajak kita sudah lolos sebelum pandemi adalah rasio perpajakannya, tax ratio dan juga tax buoyancy. Jadi hubungan antara pertumbuhan ekonomi dengan pertumbuhan penerimaan perpajakan kita yang relatif rendah sebelum pandemi.
The Ministry of Finance noted that until July 2021, the realization of tax revenues reached 647.7 trillion rupiah from the 2021 target of 1,229.6 trillion. With state revenue still low, the said budget deficit was recorded at 336.9 trillion rupiah. From Jakarta, Raharjo Patmo for IDX Channel.
The governor of Jakarta, Anies Baswedan, said that Jakarta provincial government is ready to facilitate infrastructure development to support the development of 5G services in the Jakarta area.
Jakarta Governor Anies Baswedan assessed that the current development of the digital world has become increasingly massive, especially in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, in order to develop 5G services in Jakarta, the provincial government said it would facilitate the construction of its network infrastructure. Anies also emphasized that later 5G services will be combined with the smart city and smart government programs owned by the Jakarta provincial government, so that services to the community will also be faster.
Pembangunan infrastruktur kita dengan senang hati kami fasilitasi. Kemudian dari sisi pemanfaatan kita ada smart city program, ada smart government program. Kita akan siap untuk memfasilitasi agar kegiatan yang menggunakan teknologi digital untuk pemerintahan, untuk pelayanan bisa berjalan lebih baik.
Meanwhile, Indosat's Chief Operating Officer Vikram Sina explained that apart from Jakarta and Solo, which already have 5G services, there are at least 3 other cities by the end of this year that will be available for 5G services.
So 5 cities which we said before December we will complete.
Surabaya, Makassar and Balikpapan.
Surabaya is next, then Makassar and Balikpapan.
Okay.
5G service is predicted to provide access to broadband internet as well as support the 4.0 industrial era. Jakarta, Gilang Praditya for IDX Channel.
Moving on to a global update, Japan suspended the use of 1.63 million doses of Moderna vaccine after the domestic distributor received reports of contaminants in some vials. Meanwhile, from entertainment industry, the trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home has broken the record for most global views in 24 hours. More stories on today's International Minute.
Japan suspended the use of 1.63 million doses of Moderna COVID-19 vaccine on Thursday, more than a week after the domestic distributor received reports of contaminations in some vials. Both Japan and Moderna say that no safety or efficacy issues had been identified and that the suspension was just a precaution. But the move prompted several Japanese companies to cancel worker vaccinations. Apple Chief Executive Tim Cook has received more than 5 million shares in the technology giant as he marks 10 years in the job. A company filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission watchdog shows that he sold most of the shares for more than $750 million. It is part of a deal he struck when he took over from co-founder Steve Jobs. Premier League champions Manchester City have been drawn to face Paris Saint-Germain, RB Leipzig and Club Brugge in the Champions League group stage. Pep Guardiola's City side, who were beaten by Chelsea last season in their maiden final in the competition, face a brace of tantalizing Group A meetings with Lionel Messi's new club PSG. The trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home has broken the record for most global views in 24 hours. The official trailer was viewed over 355.5 million times within 24 hours, a new record beating the previous record holder, Avengers Endgame, and its 289 million views. The trailer for the third Tom Holland Spider-Man film is exciting for more than just the chance to see Doctor Strange and Spider-Man team up. IDX Channel reports.
Market headlines will be right back after the break. Stay tuned.
Kini, aplikasi mClears hadir di handphone Anda untuk memudahkan transaksi Anda. Informasi aktivitas clearing dan penjaminan tidak lagi hanya dapat diakses melalui komputer di kantor Anda, melainkan dapat diakses di mana saja dan kapan saja dalam genggaman Anda. Fitur-fitur mClears. Equity clearing dan settlement adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi kewajiban settlement anggota clearing hingga nilai alternate case settlement serta informasi gagal bayar. Risk management adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi trading limit, kolateral, MKBD, portofolio harian, risk charge anggota clearing dan kombinasi, serta nilai minimum cash collateral. Derivatif adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi trading limit, margin call, dan informasi clearing derivatif. Terkait pinjam-meminjam efek, terdapat fitur mengenai borrowing information dan lendable pool information, serta lending revenue dan borrowing fee. Serta menu lain yang menampilkan informasi mengenai haircut, risk charge saham, dan nilai harga penyelesaian harian dan harga penyelesaian final. Selain itu, Anda juga dapat mengakses fitur pengumuman, peraturan, dan informasi layanan KPEI pada aplikasi mClears. Download aplikasi mClears di App Store atau Google Play Store. Lakukan registrasi user Anda dengan menggunakan alamat email berdomain resmi yang sesuai dengan anggota clearing Anda. Setelah registrasi, Anda akan diberikan kode OTP di email Anda untuk verifikasi, dan aplikasi mClears Anda siap untuk digunakan. Anda dapat mengakses seluruh menu pada aplikasi mClears dengan melakukan aktivasi berlangganan premium yang dapat dilakukan dengan memilih menu Get Premium. Download aplikasinya sekarang, lakukan registrasi, dan dapatkan kemudahan dalam genggaman tangan Anda. Kemudahan informasi KPEI dalam genggaman Anda.
PPKM darurat ini ternyata menekan pendapatan masyarakat.
Welcome back. OJK stated that the financial services sector in July 2021 was monitored to remain stable amid the implementation of restrictions on community activities. This can be seen from a number of leading indicators that recorded positive growth.
The Financial Services Authority, or OJK, stated that the financial services sector in July 2021 was monitored to remain stable amid the implementations of restrictions on community activities, both emergency PPKM and level 4 PPKM. OJK Deputy Commissioner for Public Relations and Logistics Anto Prabowo explained that bank lending continued growth in July of 0.5% on an annual basis. The capital of financial services institutions is also still at an adequate level. The banking industry's capital adequacy ratio was recorded at 24.67%, well above the threshold. Moreover, OJK is optimistic that the economy will improve again, supported by the decline in active cases of COVID-19 in the last few weeks. IDX Channel reports.
Economic activity cannot be separated from the role of the financial services industry. In the midst of the pandemic, the stability of the Indonesian financial services industry is reportedly still maintained, of course, by looking at a number of key indicators. So what are the indicators? Let's examine it further in the following infographic. We can see this is the bank loans distribution, the growth as much as 0.5% year on year, and the total amount as much as 1,439 trillion rupiah. And despite the growth, it slowed down compared to the previous month by 0.59% year on year. The slowdown was mainly influenced by the repayment and payment of credit installments, including from large debtors, which reached 1,332 trillion rupiah, while growth mainly occurred in the consumption loans by 2.4% and SMEs by 1.39%. OJK said that special credit from or for export commodities also showed signs of improvement, And still from the banking industry, how about the third-party funds until July 2021? The data is in the next graphic. This is banks' third-party funds growth. In July, grew by 10.43% year-on-year. Meantime, in June, grew by 11.28% year-on-year. And in terms of interest rates, the transmission of the policy of lowering interest rates has continued to reduce lending rates to a fairly competitive level. In line with these conditions, banking liquidity is very abundant. The ratio of liquidity or liquid assets and liquid assets per third-party fund in July was observed at the level of 149.32% and 32.51% respectively. The value is above the threshold. Not only that, the banking industry's capital adequacy ratio was recorded at 24.67%, which was also above the threshold. And not only banking, the capital market industry also shows exciting developments. Let's move on to the next graphic. This is fundraising in the Indonesian capital market as of August 24th, 2021. The total amount as much as 136.9 trillion rupiah. Meantime, the growth grew by 199% year-on-year. And in terms of market activity, the Jakarta Composite Index as of August 20th, 2021 was recorded at the level of 6,031, or a decline of 0.6% month to date, with foreign purchases amounting to 2.4 trillion. The state security market was observed to be relatively stable, with average yields rising 0.3 basis points across all tenors. However, foreign investors recorded a net buy of 10.35 trillion rupiah. From the capital market, let's take a look into the insurance industry. On to the next graphic, of course. This is insurance premium collection. The life insurance, it was collected as much as 13.6 trillion rupiah. Meantime, for general insurance and reinsurance, 7.6 trillion rupiah. The risk-based capital of the life insurance and general insurance industry was recorded at 653% and 346%, well above the regulatory threshold of 120%. OJK also noted that fintech P2P lending recorded a financing debit balance of 24.22 trillion rupiah. And it is hoped that the stability of the financial services industry will continue and be an indication of the recovery of the Indonesian economy. Stay tuned on Market Headlines because we'll be right back after the break.
Ya halo pemirsa, nama saya Mangivera Tjong. Saat ini saya menjabat sebagai presenter dan juga associate producer. Saat ini saya membawakan program IDX Session Closing, di mana di program tersebut saya menganalisa isu-isu ekonomi yang menarik, baik dari luar negeri maupun juga dari dalam negeri. Tentunya hingga saat ini saya masih terus belajar dan saya sangat menikmati profesi tersebut. PPKM darurat ini ternyata menekan pendapatan masyarakat.
Seiring meluasnya cakrawala investasi di tengah pasar saham yang dinamis. Analisa mendalam diperlukan untuk menemukan saham berorientasi value yang menghasilkan kinerja yang tinggi. IDX Channel akan mengulas isu pasar dan pergerakan saham terkini. Saksikan ulasannya bersama analis terpercaya hanya di IDX Channel. We're on the last segment at the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement. Earlier today, JCI was open at the level of 6,052.83, and then approaching the closing time on the first session, the index was on the level of 6,035.00. Then the index was showing weakening trend by the second session closing time. Index was closed at the level of 6,041.36. In short, JCI went down 0.28%. And next, we're going to see the sectoral movement. The dynamics of today's trading, we got technology as the leader of the strengthening trend that went up 2.58%. Health went up 0.41%. And next, we got infrastructure as the leader of the weakening trend that went down 0.96%. And energy went down 0.77%. Moving on to top gainers and top losers, here are the key highlights from today's trading session. UVCR went up 4.22% to the level of 494 rupiah per share. PPF went up 3.21% to the level of 2,570 rupiah per share. Buka went up 0.57% to the level of 875 rupiah per share. Agro went up 0.45% to the level of 2,220 rupiah per share. Meantime, the top losers for today's trading, we got BBYB went down 6.74% to the level of 1,590 rupiah per share. BBRI went down 0.78% to the level of 3,840 rupiah per share. Arto went down 1.9% to the level of 15,525 rupiah per share. And BBKP went down 4.76% to the level of 500 rupiah per share. And this is the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. Opened at the level of 14,431 rupiah, was also showing weakening trend towards US dollar. Was closed at the level of 14,485. In summary, rupiah went down 0.49%. Retail issuer Matahari Department Store recorded a positive performance in the first half of 2021. The positive performance can be seen from company's net income, which rose by 58.44% to 3.57 trillion rupiah.
Matahari Department Store recorded a net income growth in first semester this year of 58.44%. The income growth cannot be separated from increasing retail sales and net consignation sales. Retail sales in the first semester achieved 2.2 trillion rupiah, or higher than the same period in 2020 of 1.44 trillion rupiah, while net consignation sales reached 1.37 trillion rupiah. After recorded performance growth in the first semester, Matahari is optimistic to post a better performance in the future, especially after the government began to ease the restrictions in a number of regions. The company has also performed vaccinations for all employees and implemented the health and safety protocols. IDX Channel reports.
IndiHome Pulp and Paper is optimistic sales will keep growing until the end of this year. The company projects that sales could grow by 10%.
IndiHome Pulp and Paper is optimistic sales to grow by 10% this year. The company's optimism comes from the performance in the first semester of this year, which is still growing even though the global and local economy is still disturbed by the COVID-19 pandemic. During this first semester, the company successfully booked income of $1.62 billion. This income has increased 9.45% if compared to the same period in 2020 of $1.48 billion. The increase in income was driven by higher product selling price. In addition, the company's strategy that transferred the market to Asia to overcome container scarcity is considered as the right decision. In Asia market, sales volume during the first semester reached 80%. Increase in company's revenue led to higher net profit, which grew by 39.2%. IDX Channel reports.
Two subsidiaries of United Tractors, Pama Persada Nusantara and Suprabarima Panindo Mineral, or SMM, have signed a loan agreement. Under this agreement, Pama Persada will provide a loan of $40 million to SMM to be used as working capital.
Based on the information on the Indonesia Stock Exchange, PAMA Persada or PAMA choose to conduct transaction with SMM, who is an affiliated party, because it can help SMM operational activities and be more profitable for PAMA. The profit will be obtained from interest income from giving loans. This loan has plus 2% LIBOR interest with the agreed period. For information, Suprabari Mapanindo is a subsidiary of Tuah Turangga Agung with 80.1% ownership, while Tuah Turangga Agung is a subsidiary of PAMA with 72.01% shares ownership. Meantime, because this transaction is not a conflict of interest, so it doesn't require approval from independent shareholders. IDX Channel reports.
Tower Bersama Infrastructure plans to issue bonds of $900 million. The issuance will be made in several times within 12 months after the approval of the extraordinary general meeting of shareholders on September 2021.
Tower Bersama Infrastructure plans to issue bonds of $900 million. The issuance will be made in several times within 12 months after the approval of the extraordinary general meeting of shareholders on September 2021. The funds obtained from the issuance will be used for settlements of subsidiaries' debts that have been due. The fresh fund is expected to deliver a better efficiency and liquidity because the funds will also be used to finance the future expansions plan. Some of the business plans to be implemented, including network planning, land acquisitions, network expansion, and the implementation program. Not only that, the company will also do network installations and project management for telecommunication tower. IDX Channel report.
Aside from market condition as coronavirus pandemic takes big role in current economic situation, and here is an update data about coronavirus globally. And the news close our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, your trustworthy economic, business and capital market channel. As the COVID-19 pandemic is still going on, keep protecting your family by following the health protocols, wearing face masks, keep your distance and stay away from crowds, and wash your hands through running water. And also continue to support the vaccination program to accelerate the creation of herd immunity. I'm Wicky Adrian. Have a nice evening and stay safe.